Good evening, lovely tubers. White Mexican back in for another Cash Tarot deck profile for you. Really quick before I break down the round and numbers and all the details, I'm just going to go ahead and get right into the turbo deck profile. Starting with the main deck magic cards, I ran Triple Birth, Triple Theosis, Triple Pressure Planet, Triple Pot of Prosperity, Triple Dimensional Fisher, 1 Triple T, 1 Terraforming, 1 Called By, onto the traps, 1 Preparations, Triple Impermanence, 1 Ogre, 2 Scareclaw Kashtira, Triple Rise Heart, Triple Unicorn, Triple Fenrir, Triple Ash, and Triple Dimensional Shifter. Moving on to the side deck, Triple Spooky Dogwood. Absolutely hate this card, but there's a whole story behind this, so I'll get into that later. Triple Lava Golem, Triple Evenly Matched, Double Dark Hole, Double Cosmic, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and 1 Thrust. For the extra deck, Triple Tax Dragon, Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This paid dividends. This was such a key component of me doing so well in this tournament. More to come on that. Triple Shangira, 2 Big Eye, 2 Dark Armed, 1 Draco Sack, 1 Zeus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 SP Little Knight, and a single copy of Chain Yang. Alright, so breaking down the matchups, it was a small 15-player tournament. There was 5 rounds. I went X1 out of the 5 rounds, ended up copying 2nd place. Round 1 was against Monconco. That was 3 games. I ended up losing to the Monconco player in time because I had lower life points. Round 2 was against Voiceless Voice. That was only 2 games. I won both games. That was a flat-out win. Round 3 was against Melodious, a very, very talented Melodious player. That was one of my harder matchups of the day for sure. That was 3 games, and I won in time. It was crazy because, I'll get into that later, but I ended up winning in time because of life points. Round 4 was against Memento. I really, really hate that deck. That deck is just, I just still don't really know what it does, and it's like not enough people play it to study it, but at the same time, there's a local player here that just always runs it, so it's always something that I have to be aware of. That was 3 games. That was a pretty difficult matchup, surprisingly, as well, but I ended up winning in Game 3 because I was up in life. I spooky dogwood him, and he basically scooped because we had like 4 or 5 minutes left in round 3. Round 5 was against Yugioh. That was a flat-out win. I opened shifter both games, so that was tremendous, and I ended up taking both games pretty quickly, flat-out. That was definitely one of the quicker matchups there for the final round 5 being against Yugioh, winning that. Again, so 15 players, 2nd place, ended up kind of skimpy on the prize support, but I mean, it was a smaller, only 15 players, so kind of is what it is. But 2 OTS, and 5 info packs. So we'll go ahead and crack those for you guys here shortly. Really quick before I do the pack openings, I did want to explain, it's a pretty standard build. One thing that's kind of White Mexican special is I know some players opt to only run 2 Rise Hearts. I always run 3. This card is just such a great combo starter. Little to never brick on this. It's too good not to run at 3. And usually in games 2 or 3, I side out one of the Rise Hearts as well as one of the Scareclaws. Another kind of White Mexican special. A lot of people don't run 2 Scareclaws. This card just puts in tremendous work. Being able to smack with a 26 body in defense while turning off effects potentially is just insane. You can combo it off of Theosis by recalling resources from your remove from play face-up zone. It's just super, super good. A lot of people think this is super cloggy. I am not of the mindset of that. I have little to never bricked on this card or Triple Rise Heart. It's super, super good. I think it's highly underrated. I think it's so essential to run 2 of these. These are just game stealers, and they get you out of really, really terrible situations by turning off effects. It's really, really good. So that's something that's kind of unique towards my build. The 1 Ogre, 1 Preparations, obviously it kind of, it's losing the dice roll and opening either one of these is kind of crappy. You really want to go off a Rise Heart play and then remove from play the Ogre, have this in deck, and then Birth to bring back the Ogre Search to do deck thinning. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Unfortunately, you'll have to go second and you open these. I always side these out, though. I main these for game 1 because, again, it's a dice roll. You don't know if you're going first or second. But for games 2 and 3, more than likely, almost always, these get sided out with the third Rise Heart and the second Scareclaw in order to put in your going second cards. And that's another thing that's super huge about this deck. You'll notice that, like most of any deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, going second is an uphill battle. It's always more difficult than going first for the most part, depending on what deck you're playing. And I completely switched the side deck to all going second cards. All of these, I mean, this isn't technically, it could be either or, but the majority of these cards are going second board breakers. Not this card, obviously. This is just a time card. And really quick, I'll explain myself because I know this is like a super cheeky, hated card, and I personally don't like this card myself. There is, on Sunday, I was at locals, my Sunday locals last week, and I was undefeated, and I ended up losing in one of the final rounds against a Manadium player, and he sided this for game 3. Completely forgot about this card, such a nuisance, but he sided it for game 3, and he pitched it. I was going first, game 3, activated Rise Heart effect to special, he changed Spooky, and it was like over. We had, I think, like five or 4 minutes for like the whole entire game 3, and he pitched this, and then basically I made a Shang, summoned and then made a Shang, and he gained, the life of Rise Heart and Shang. It's only 100 attack, but he gained the 1600, and then passed over to him, and he had full control. And the very unfortunate thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! When you're playing a combo deck and you're going into time and how the whole time rulings work, it's very unfortunate for the non-combo player because that combo player has full control, and basically they can like stall you out without even really trying to stall you out. They're just going to be going through their combo lines, and you're going to be sitting there, and they're going to have such an advantage because they are consuming the majority of the 45 minutes of the match round. So I decided for this tournament here to put it in just for the sheer fact that yes, it's a nasty time card. It's a really cheapy, cheap way to win. But if people are gonna play it against me locally, I'm gonna play it right back at them. So unfortunately, for this particular scene, Yu-Gi-Oh scene, I have to run it because people are running it against me. And the only way that I can really counter it is just, throw it right back at them. Unfortunately, that's just how it is sometimes. So that is kind of my explanation on that. So that's kind of self-explanatory after, I can't really, go into more detail about that. Continuing on with the deck, the three-dimensional Fisher, that is also kind of a white Mexican special. I know some people maybe picked this up. For the longest time, this was the standard. This and the whole debate between your deck thinning and your draw power. What do you use? Do you use Seven Swords? Do you use Upstart? Do you use other draw power? What is your draw power? This only limits you to, you can't draw cards off this. And again, I do think that right now, at least here, like in my local scene, Effect Veiler and Droll and Lockbird and Ghost Ogre are super mainstream. They're being mained in the majority of decks right now. And, you can drop this right away, so this is going to be an instant protection. If you're going first, this is going to be instant protection against Droll and Lockbird and Effect Veiler. And yes, there's still Imperm and Ash Blossom, which can really hurt this deck. They can hurt any deck or any combo starter. But this helps a lot. This is a big safety net against Effect Veiler, Ghost Ogre, and more specifically Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird is like a black plague against Kashtira. You don't want to get drolled. You do a lot of searching. It's very, very rough if you get drolled. So this is mostly for that. That and just if you go up against a deck who needs their graveyard, you just automatically take that resource away for them. If you get lucky, whatever the percentage is, 20% or whatever it may be, to open the shifter and you drop the shifter right away, great. That doesn't always happen though, so that's why you have these D-Fishers as a buffer zone to kind of help in the in-between. Back on 3 Prosperity, there's just no, I've tried and it is really scary to limit yourself with, you can't draw cards for the rest of the turn with this. And most of the time you can't go for game because your opponent's battle damage is going to be cut in half on the resolution of this. But there really isn't, to potentially go and dig for 6 cards, and with Kashtira being a lot of, some, mostly just Planet and Unicorn, maybe Fenrir, depending on your hand, as, big combo starters. There isn't really, I haven't found a better way. And I've gone back and forth, and I've tried multiple things, as you probably have seen on the channel, and experimented. But right now, I've just come to the point that, this is kind of the best opportunity that we have to get to our combos and starters as quickly as possible and start to try to maintain a dominance on the board. So everything else is pretty standard, in my personal opinion, as far as the main. Again, I'm back on Lava Golems on the side. This is, especially with Yugioh, it's extremely helpful with Yugioh because they have a lot of control cards that they bring out. This is also super great for the most part against Yugioh. Dark Hole specifically, if some random cheeky play happens where my opponent manipulates my board and they put a body on my board, that I can clear everything, so I can have a clear board, so I can, drop my Fenrir, drop my Unicorn, drop my Ogre, whatever it may be. So that's super good. And then just in general, some decks can potentially, if they don't have protection, they can auto lose to a board wipe like this. Cosmic, here and there, I've been increasingly running into Runic, so Fountain is a thing you definitely want to go ahead and remove from play the Runic, so you don't have to deal with those pesky cards on your turn. Also super good against Yugioh. I have it out for Yugioh right now. I used to lose terribly to Yugioh, and after a couple times of getting my butt beat by Yugioh, I side really hard for Yugioh because it's a really popular deck. It's a very explosive deck right now, and I really don't enjoy losing to Yugioh. So a lot of this is kind of curtailed to Yugioh hate, back row destruction. To go and search for your powerhouse cards, obviously Duster, Dark Hole, more oftenly than not evenly matched, and then of course the time card. Just because in my local scene, you have to run it because there's sneaky players that are gonna unfortunately be running it. Not too much has changed with the extra deck. I've gone back and forth on this. Obviously, any level 7, the majority of your Kashtira monsters are level 7. If you side in the Spooky Dogwood, it's a level 3 tuner. And then, of course, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is a level 3 tuner. So those are your potential 6 tuners that you would run to sync off the level 7 to make 10. And this is just a big body and great control card, especially under things like Fisher or Shifter. Really, really great powerhouse card. Big body. These two, yes, I use them mostly as backup for spot removal, more specifically for back row, like Phantom Pain, or if there's, a pesky floodgate going on, this is potential out. More so, this is for talents. If I talents and declare Change of Heart and take my opponent's monster, I want to have a way to link off their monster and get that body off board. So that's kind of the reasoning behind having just a really low link count. Not playing the Heat Soul package. I've played it before. It's not that I don't feel that the Heat Soul package is, unsuccessful or anything. I really just got bored of it. I played it for so many months, and now I'm just kind of on a different board. And obviously, I'm maining 3-dimensional Fisher and that plus Shifter because you can't go into the Heat Soul line when you're under removal manipulation. So that's another reason why I changed the extra deck away from the Heat Soul line. This is super, super good. This paid dividends, at least in 2 different games. I really miss this card. I was really happy to bring this back. Clearing boards with this after a battle phase is insane. It's a really big body, and it's just an all-around just great utility card. I think if you have the opportunity to run XYZs in your extra deck, Zeus would definitely take an honorable one-of slot. Mecham Phantom Beast. I wanted to just have more diversity. Normally, I would run 3 of these because this is just such amazing spot removal. You got to be careful because a lot of people have target protection. A lot of cards have target protections now. But I did cut it down to 2, just the same as Big Eye, because The majority of the time, now that I'm back on Prosperity, 1 to 2 of these instantly become fodder for Prosperity, and I've little to never gone into more than one. This is very rare that I go into Big Eye. Usually when I do, I usually win because I end up taking a big body and just, swinging directly for game with my opponent's own bodies. But I think 2 and 2 is a good ratio, with Prosperity being at 3. I added the Draco Sack. It's really just for like the skill drain play. If you get skill drain, you can still go into this and tribute it and still destroy the skill drain. That's really the only reason why I have it. It's just kind of a utility card. That's really why all of these cards here, the Draco Sack, the Zeus, the Little Knight, the Nightmare Phoenix, and the Chen Yang are really just utility to kind of diversify away from the standard level 7s, a Big Eye, Dark Armed, Shang, and Red Eyes. Now, I know a lot of players only play 2 Shangira. Some super crazy players, some high roll, high risk, high reward players only play 1. I think that is completely insane. To me, not that it's wrong, it's just very, very too risky for me. The reason why I say that is because Shangira, Unicorn, and Fenrir are your powerhouse cards. You have to maximize on these 3 cards. Why would you not play 3 of the cards that are going to continuously net you resources every single turn? Fenrir gives you a body +1. Unicorn gives you a magic +1. Shangira gives you a body +1, and if you have Planet, it combos for a target destruction. It's just super, super insane, and these cards force your opponent to act. Your opponent has to use resources to move these cards off the field, or else they lose. Because the longer that these are on the board, the more that you just continue to gain dominance over your opponent by netting more and more and more resources. So obviously with Prosperity, sometimes one of them becomes Prosperity fodder because I am running back on 3 Prosperities. But other than that, almost every game I'm going into at least almost indefinitely one of these, but more so 2 of these. So having that third one is really just kind of for like kind of that oh crap button or Prosperity. And the MVP, for sure, 100%. One of the only, in Game 3, winning in time against Melodius was because of this card. 2 of the games, I ended up winning Dice Roll, and immediately I knew he was playing Melodius, and I kind of went high risk, high reward. Ended up, instead of going to the standard Shang play, I went into double Red Eyes and basically passed over to him, and he couldn't play because they combo a lot, and taking like 1k burn damage every single card effect was just insane. Lucky for me, he didn't open the imperms, so I just burned him out of playing round 1. Round 2, I did a little bit of a misplay, but he just netted too much advantage. Obviously, Melodius is a lot faster and kind of recur resources a little bit quicker than Kashtira, for the most part, subjectively. So I kind of surrendered on that one, and then going into Game 3, I was able to go first again. And it was insane because he used that makeshift Maxi card, the Malchummy. He actually pitched 2. So he was drawing 2 cards per my summon from my hand. And I ended up going into, again, the same play from Game 1. I went into double Tax Dragon, but I also had the Spooky Dogwood in hand as well. So when I passed over to him, he ended up like drawing like 9 or 11 cards or 10 or 12 cards. I don't know. He drew an insane amount for me to set up the 2 Tax Dragons, but it was crazy. He just got unlucky because he sided in, I'm assuming that he kept in the imperms, but I know he sided in evenly matches, and that's what he was digging for. He went through X amount of draws through his makeshift Maxi, but he still didn't get an imperm or an evenly match. So as soon as it hit draw phase, I pitched the Spooky Dogwood, and that was pretty much a death sentence because at that point, I think we had like maybe 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes left. So every move he made, I was gaining and he was losing, and it was just, I ended up getting an insane amount of life points, and so yeah, unfortunate way, but again, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh, unfortunately, like whatever it takes to win sometimes, obviously, honorably, you don't want to, cheek someone on time or, cheat or anything like that, but sometimes you have to play the game in a manner that is, you know, professionally going to give you the W, and, you know, always be honorable and respectful about it. So that is all for the deck. I think I've talked more than enough here. You guys are probably sick of hearing my voice here. So again, 5 info packs and then 2 OTS, 122, 125. Really looking for a third Ash, so hopefully I can get an Alti Ash to complete my set for the Max Rarity Snake Eyes build that I'm collecting right now. We got Arvada, so that's pretty cool for that. OTS 22 is going to be next. And we got a Super Angler. That's pretty cool. I remember when the commons were like really expensive for just commons. It's cool that we got a holofoil. We have our first info pack here. We have an ultra rare. It's this shield thing. Second pack, we have some kind of super. I don't even know what. I actually need this. I'm rebuilding my Max Rarity Voiceless Voice deck, so I need it. It's a one of, potentially. We got a Melchummy Perilia, so this was the card that the Melodious player, he dot 2 in my draw phase. And drew a whole bunch of cards, so super cool. Kind of curious. I don't know how I feel about this card. I don't know personally as a player if I like it, but it was definitely really scary to basically have him makeshift Max C me in that round against Melodious player. So really cool. I think that's like, you know, 30 bones or so right now. So definitely a nice secret to pull. We got another super here, another one of those Voiceless Voice traps. And for the final pack of info, we have this Super Fiendsmith. Oh, another pack, another one. I guess I know it's super easy to get that common. All right, that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a showcasing by Autumn's Allure. My name is the White Mexican, and I will see you in the next video.